What to do if an old employee quits and now you need to create a user for the new employee who has just joined in. And after creating the new user, you need to assign all the opportunities, deals, leads, contacts, everything that was assigned to the old user to the new user. How would you do that in Salesforce? Simply log in and then navigate to setup. Once you're in setup, in your quick find box, search for users, click on users. Now generally, in order to create a new user, you would click the new user button. But in this case, if you wish to assign all existing records in beta which was owned by the previous user, and if you want to move it over to the new user, then the recommended approach would be to simply replace the existing user with the new one. How would you do that? Let's assume in our case that Gavin Bilson has left and a new employee has come in his place. You can simply click Edit next to Gavin's user, and we can provide a name such as Richard Nolan. Let's say he is our new employee. We can provide an alias, we can change their email address, we can also change the username, we can provide a nickname, we can give them a title. Let's say they both have the same title and then the same department. We can choose a security rule for this user by saying they belong to the sales team, so their security rule would be the sales rule. They use up the same Salesforce license. Profile, we can choose to keep the same profile, or we can make them an admin or provide a custom profile if we need to. For now, I'm just going to say they should have a standard user profile. The most important thing to make sure of is to make sure this active checkbox is marked as true. This is what constitutes as this user being active and taking up a license. If I were to deactivate this user, that means one of my Salesforce license would free up, which would then enable me to create a new user. And this is the exact same steps that I would need to follow if I were creating a new user instead of replacing Gavin. So if I were creating a new user for Richard, I'd have to enter the same information and I would hit save at the end. The only difference would be that Richard would be a new user, hence everything that Gavin owned would not automatically move to Richard. And then we would have to manually mass transfer all that data one by one, such as first we transfer all the deals, opportunities, then the contacts, bin leads, accounts, and any other data that we had, which is a very long and tedious process. So Salesforce recommends that we simply transfer the same user license to the new user, which we are doing right now. So we're using Gavin's user and we're replacing them with the new user. And once we've done that, we can scroll down, we can say generate new password and notify user immediately. This would send an email to our new employee Richard to set up their user and password, and then they'll be able to successfully log in. We can also add a mailing address, their time zone, their phone number, fax, extension, all that information for the new user. Once we're done, you will hit save. And our new user has been created. They will receive an email and then they can log in to their new user. And once they log in, all the data which was previously owned by Gavin will automatically now be owned by Richard Nolan. And now if we'd like to add Richard to a sales team, we can simply search for public group in our quick find box. This is how we create teams in Salesforce, by going into public groups. And over here, we can create a new team. And let's say this team is the East Coast team. And we will assign users in this team. Let's say Richard is one of the users and Faddo is the other user who belongs to the East Coast team. So these two are now belonging to our East Coast team. And then we can hit save. Done. That's how you transfer an existing user license or an employee's license who has quit to a new employee by simply transferring the same user instead of creating a fresh new user and then transferring all the data. The recommended way in Salesforce is to use the same user and rename them, change all of their information, and assign that same user license to our new employee